When we hear this word AI in games, first thing comes to our mind is a game character using artificial intelligence to compete with players. But it's not completely true. Most of the games uses decision trees to achieve such behaviors. A programmer codes these behaviors to the enemy and enemy will act according to that. So in this video, we're gonna make an enemy who will have a range of sight. If the player enters to that range, the enemy start move towards the player, and if the player manages to run away from its sight, the enemy will go back to its normal position. Here you can see when I go near this tiny monster, it starts to follow me, and when I go far from him at a certain distance, it goes back to its initial position, which is a tree branch. Doing such is very simple. We need to write some simple lines of code for this. Okay, let's go to the video. Here I have a simple state machine set up here, which includes some animations of our character, mainly idle and moving animations of both enemy and player. So this is our player. I can move him left and right using left and right arrows. If you want to know how I made this, I have a whole tutorial explaining the same. Now we have the enemy who have two animations, idle and flying. I rigged these animations using Unity's 2D animation package. All I have to do now is just trigger this animation using a script and make the enemy follow the player. First make a boolean using this plus button. Set it to true for transition coming into the flying animation and make it false for transition going out. Okay, now I'm gonna add a script to the enemy and open Visual Studio. So what we're gonna write here is if the player reaches a certain distance from the enemy, then the enemy should activate and chase the player. If the player reaches a distance which is greater than a specific range from the enemy, then enemy should go back to its initial position. For this, we need a fixed position where the enemy should stay while it's in idle state, which is the position of the tree branch. We need position of both enemy and player in each frame. For that, make a public game object and private transform function. Set the transform to the variable using getComponent function. Next, we need the coordinates of the idle position. For that, make a vector2 variable and assign enemy's current position to that variable using the same getComponent function. Okay, now in update function, make an if statement which checks the distance between current position of the enemy and the position of the player is less than a specific range or not. Instead of hardcoding the value, I am typing distance and initialize distance as a public float so that I can change it directly from the inspector. If the condition is true, then we need to move the enemy from its current position to the player's position. For that, use move towards function. The first parameter is from what position you want to move the object. The second parameter is to which position you want to move, and the third parameter is in what speed. Make sure you multiply speed with time.delta time to make everything frame rate independent. I'm making a public float called speed so that I can edit easily from the inspector window. In else statement there are two conditions. If the distance between player and enemy is greater than or equal to the range, there is a chance that our enemy is still on the tree branch, or it just flew behind the player and player ran off, then distance between them got higher. So to check them, make an if statement which checks the distance between current position and idle position of the enemy is 0 or not. If it's 0, enemy should play idle animation, and if it's greater than 0, enemy should play fly animation and go back to idle position. For enemy to go back to idle position, use move towards function. From parameter is its current position and to parameter is its idle position. Save everything and get back to Unity. Drag game objects to the slot and type speed values and hit play. Okay, everything works fine. Now we need to trigger these animations using the script. For that, make a private animated controller and set its animated component to the variable. Now make the boolean true in every places where you move the enemy and make it false in idle position. Save everything and hit play. You can add any animations to the character. Just make transition to the animation you have created and trigger them using a boolean value. And that's the end of this video. If this video is helpful to you, please hit like and subscribe for more videos about Unity and game development. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video.